Good evening. I am very excited to be here. Thank you all for having me. It's great that we can talk about heart health and healthy living and healthy diet, but we can also talk about how that starts tomorrow, and so tonight we can drink, okay? Cheers. Otherwise, these jokes aren't going to be very funny, so. But thank you so much for that intro. It seems like, sometimes when it's read, it seems like I've done a lot, but most of my time, I actually spend, like most people in here, trying to take care of patients. And my boss said that I can't exactly say where I work, but since this is such an intimate room, it rhymes with Shadish Memorial. And I can't tell you that, I don't want to get in trouble. But thank you all for letting me be here and be part of this celebration of absolute excellence. Give it up for everybody who's helped put this together tonight. They did such a great job, am I right? And, you know, really it's great to be here this weekend, because just last weekend, there was things happening that I can barely still talk about. I mean, the bad guys won. It's very disheartening. Now we got politics even in things that, you know, you would typically enjoy, like football. I mean, Donald Trump messed up my Super Bowl. He messed up my Super Bowl party. He messed up my snack game at the Super Bowl party. He got in a fight with that guy from Mexico, and now guacamole is $10 a pint. It wasn't just me that did this now. I was just trying to make my nachos great again. But there's been a lot of good things this year, and one of the things is I got to take my daughter to see the Hidden Figures movie. It was great, inspirational. I got to tell you, initially I didn't want to go see Hidden Figures because I thought it was going to be about Donald Trump's tax returns, but it turns out it wasn't about that. It was about something different. But I'm not sure if everybody got the same message that I got from that movie. But the message that I got was that those women wouldn't have been able to survive those tough times without sisterhood. And so I'm here to share with you guys that brotherhood and sisterhood matters. It really makes a difference. And I get to see so many of my colleagues in these roles. We may not necessarily be putting a person on the moon, but we do great things in that hospital. It may not seem like much to us, but somebody's grandmother has been helped by one of you guys. That's special. Somebody's sister, somebody's mother, somebody's spouse can feel like they're going to the moon as soon as you put your expert hands on them. When I work as a hospitalist, there's this one unit that I go to every now and again that takes care primarily of dialysis patients. There's this one nurse that works there that I can't, I'm not, she still works there, so I'll keep it private, but that she was the kind of nurse leader that was literally a force of nature. She was so talented and so excellent that her energy moved other people to excellence. The kind of nurse leader that knew all of the patients, that knew not just how to teach, but also how to mentor young nurses, knew all of the techs, knew all of the food service persons, knew the people that worked with utilities, and on top of that, knew how to save lives. Give a round of applause if you know somebody like that. I know there's more than one. And I work as a hospitalist 6 or so times a year, and I kept coming back again and again. And I watched this unit, and I learned that it wasn't just one nurse. Over time, it was 2 nurses that had the same sort of set of skills, and then it was 3, and then it was 4. And these nurses that worked in this unit, they didn't all just leave and go to a different hospital. A lot of them didn't go to NP school, but they stayed there to push each other for excellence in the one unit. They had a brotherhood and a sisterhood that encourage and expected excellence. And it's not just for the comfort of just being in the same place and the same job and it's an easy thing to do. They stayed because they thought they had a mission to do the right thing by those dialysis patients. They stayed for kinship. The sisterhood mattered so much and the excellence was so proficient that it was infectious. Kind of like MRSA, except good. I'm going on my 9th year rounding in this unit, and it still gets kind of better. But it's the kind of excellence that you can kind of feel when you walk onto the unit, even though there's another nursing unit only a few feet away. And I think that difference is that excellence is expected. There's expectations to be met. High quality patient care and attention to detail in this unit are expected. I, for one, I know a lot about expectations. My wife went on vacation last month, left me at home with the kids, and I learned as a dad at home, alone with 2 children, there's no expectations. Really, all you have to do is prove that you live in the house with those kids, and people are very impressed. I mean, my wife can take care of the kids for 2 weeks and 2 months, and nobody bats an eye. But I got the kids for 2 weeks. Pretty much everybody asks if my wife has died. That's true. But the fact is that there were really not a lot of expectations. A true story. I actually took the 4-year-old. I took my 4-year-old to school. And you have to drop her off in front of the teacher, and the teacher looked at the child and looked at me, then looked at the child and said, "You know what? You're just doing the best you can." It's not always obvious which of the children's clothes are pajamas, but there's no expectations for a dad alone with kids. But with Black Nurses and Black Nurses Rocks, as a member, everyone expects you to do great things. The next question would be, why would we all expect you to do so well? I submit that nurses have a special knowledge. Not only do nurses know the science behind the human condition, but they understand the humans of the human condition. These days, I think it's very important to share that knowledge. Also, nurses have experiential knowledge. Fortunately or unfortunately, the word immigrant comes up a lot. It's actually one of the most highly searched terms in all of Google. Now, some of us are descendants of folks who came here and didn't have a choice. But a lot of us are descendants of people from all across the African diaspora, Jamaica, Nigeria, everywhere. And it is imperative on all of us to share that experience and to share that knowledge, because we know and we need to celebrate everybody's background in order to move us all forward. Nurses have a special knowledge. Nurses are one of the few people that really know what it means when somebody says actively vomiting. It's a thing. There's nurses here that can tell you that C. diff has a certain kind of a smell. Right? I'm not the only one that smells that. I'm like, we don't even need to send this to the lab. I know what it is. Nurses understand that if someone says that they've overdosed on crack, the problem isn't that there was too much crack. The problem is that this person thinks there's an appropriate dose of crack. We can use this science knowledge to mentor the youth. We can use this medical street knowledge to mentor our colleagues and push ourselves forward. I'm actually very fortunate to work at Shadish Memorial, and I get to play a role in the resident education on the emergency medicine side of my practice. A few years ago, we had a guy who came through the program and he became ultimately an excellent physician. But when he was there, he had a little bit of a difficulty with test taking. And I worked with him a lot, and I was always impressed And it wasn't that I was impressed with his knowledge of facts and stuff. I was impressed with his ability to read people. And that's not something necessarily you can teach. Psychologists have probably called this emotional intelligence. But when he came to work, he knew everyone's name. He knew all the nurses, even the travelers, the part-timers. He knew the patients who would show up more than once. He also knew all the persons who would do food service. He knew the security guards. One day in the education committee, I was sitting and they asked me if I thought that it was a good thing that we were going to graduate a physician who didn't have as much technical knowledge on tests as some of his colleagues. And I said, well, we all know that the things that you learn today, in 10 years, half of that's going to be incorrect, right? But I'll tell you this, for the rest of his life, he'll be able to appropriately treat patients. And that's because he had the ability to leverage all of the nurses' collective knowledge with respect and reliance. And that's why he's a great physician. It doesn't matter what he makes on tests. I mean, he ultimately did very well on tests, but his strong suit was that he knew how to work with nurses. And I have one last story. Thank you all for letting me go so long. It was when I was in Colorado for a conference. And I'm from the South, and I got one jacket. My heaviest jacket says emergency medicine on it, but I was wearing it anyway. So I went out to a bar, and I got a drink, and I guess this lady thought that she was going to make a joke. And she comes up to me, she's like, hey, are you an ER doctor? And before I could answer, she was like, because I think I'm having a heart attack. And I said, well, let me put down my drink. I was like, let me just explain to you that I really wouldn't know the first thing to do with you because I'm not a nurse. And in addition to needing a nurse to actually help you, I'll also need a tech. I'll need an additional nurse because somebody's got a document, right? That's right. And I'll need somebody from the lab. I'll need, most importantly, I'll need somebody from registration to take your insurance. That's right, ain't nothing gonna happen for free, that's for sure. But, so with that, I leave you to push each other over these next 3 to 4 very uncertain years politically. We need to push each other, take care of each other, and strive for excellence. And we need to stay focused on the sisterhood that exists here and the ones that exist on your units and the places that you work. Because this hood, the hood matters. And most importantly, we need to rock on. Thank you.